Hey, how you doing? Come on, Jim, this way. We're attempting to do our walk with this big rig here at 18th and Vine. I'm attempting to do it with the dogs in tow, although you can't see them very well. But don't know if I'll keep talking throughout the whole thing. Probably just kind of walk mostly. But, Jazz District in Kansas City. Famous all over the world, although it's kind of neglected here. You can kind of say that jazz is Kansas City. More so than blues. Blues is more of a Memphis thing. It's more or less going to keep it straight and walk. And hopefully my dogs will cooperate here. Come on, dogs. They got names of famous jazz musicians here on the street. Room for more. We got some sort of production going on here. Come on, doggies. Always something going on down here. Well, not always. Quite often this place is empty, too often. There's a lot down here, a lot of history. Make sure I'm actually recording something. If not, probably end up putting it to music. I could talk more about what's down here, but then I'm afraid I'm not as educated on it as I should be. I know people are gonna get upset when I walk through the middle of their production. Maybe I'll walk up this street here and come down. At least as long as my batteries hold up. I'll do a little sweep down the street here. There's the call on the corner. It's a black-owned newspaper. Everything that's significant that's happened in this community, that newspaper's been a part of. Come on, dogs. Jimmy, don't wrap around me. Where's Stella? And I'm not panning too much, but there's a lettering on the side. C.A. Franklin, founder, established 1919. Which I'm assuming that's him. It's a high school over here. It's sitting abandoned, falling apart. I don't know what restoration plans, if any, are for it. So far, my dogs are cooperating pretty well. I can't have my hands on them, but they're on a leash and they're tethered to my belt. So if they go too crazy, I might lose my pants, which is interesting. Man, I picked a bad day not to wear underwear. Ha ha ha. I'm kidding. All right, I have to pay attention to my face track. Oh, just do a slow, well, that wasn't so slow and graceful. Pan over, you can see the front. Beautiful building, but like I say, sitting abandoned. I'm getting my exercise. It's gonna be a short walk, but definitely getting my exercise because this rig is pretty heavy. We're about 1 block south of 18th. We're on 19th, coming up on Highland. And you'll see up here, this is the Musicians Union Hall. Used to be the Colored Musicians Union Hall. It was a place where, pan over, you can see it right over there. The side of it, they've painted a mural on the side. It used to be the place where the musicians would all play downtown, play all the music, usually dance type music that everybody wanted to hear. Then they come over here and they would jam and play the music they wanted to play. And they would do this after all the bars would close until the next morning on weekends. And they still do that now. As a matter of fact, they have a special license, special liquor license from the state of Missouri that allows them to do it now. For a long time, they kind of did it under the radar, but now they're doing it legit. And it's a long tradition. And the music that comes out of this place, the wee hours of the morning. I'm a bit tall here, I gotta watch this tree. There it is. Now, it's called Mutual Musicians Foundation now. The little number there, they, back in, 1940, there was a survey done of all the properties for tax purposes. And they went and took pictures of all these buildings. And there was a guy that held a sign, and this was the sign for this building. and to kind of let the people know. So you can look up in the archives and see all these old pictures of what all these buildings used to look like. Let me pan over some more and get the front of it. I wish I could go there more than I have been able to in the past. Dog's not cooperating. There's been a lot of restoration work going on in these parts. Rochester Hotel, 18th and Vine. Originally built 1919. Yeah. I just kind of walk past it. I'm trying to keep my videos straight and not do all this crazy panning and stuff. Make people seasick. I may have to figure out some sort of a shortcut. They may not want me walking through their video shoot here. And here's the Boone Theater, named after Blind Boone, who was a early musician, like 1800s, and a prodigy, and he invented a lot of things like the walking bass line and things that we use today. Yeah, I'm gonna have to walk behind. I was gonna walk on this street over here, but I'm gonna have to walk behind. Come on, dogs. I can get a nice shot down the street this way. All right, come on, dogs. Cut across here. While I do this, I'll look across the street, the Gem Theater. Looks like that's what they're using as a backdrop. Come on, dogs. This historic Lincoln building. It's historic, it says so on the side. I know you're getting the top of my head in my talking shot. Sorry, it's not easy to pay attention to all of this. Mostly I'm trying to keep the front camera smooth, and as long as it holds out. These mirrorless cameras have a bad habit of overheating and shutting down. Oh. And there's a Black Lives Matter mural. Jimmy, get out of the street. All right, we're crossing. Come on, dogs. Jimmy, don't walk behind me. Come on. This is Vine Street. That's what this district is named after, 18th and Vine. Jimmy, you're doing it again. You're wrapping around to me. All right. Just as I said and predicted, the mirrorless overheated on me. I'll let people talk about what these buildings are. Let's just say that they're famous and in bad shape. They've been stabilized, but that's about it. This building is not stabilized, and a lot of buildings down here fall down on their own. Come on. Oh, good. Just gonna have to turn that audio off because of the music. It's a motorcycle club we just passed by. Up. Here comes the music again, I bet. Gotta look down Vine Street here. And continue on our way back on 19th Street. If I'm not talking too much about the sights here, it's because I will betray my ignorance. And so I don't want to do that. Or excuse me, my ignorance. I was a fan of a comedian who say ignorance a lot. There's that music again. I wonder if I can blah 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 the music out. I'm gonna have to cut the audio down. As that was over 14 seconds. Now, a lot of people in this area have had the pleasure of meeting John Buck O'Neill. And that's a painting of him on the side of this building. And it was painted, the mural was painted by my friend Alexander Austin. And Mr. O'Neill passed away a few years back. He was pretty old. But this building right here is the YMCA building, the PASEO YMCA, where the Negro Leagues was founded. And they are working to make that into the Negro Leagues Museum. But they've done a lot of restoration work on it. But it's still pending. Oops.
You fuck for new?
No. Heck no. Oh, the great thing about this spot right here. It's a great view of downtown from here. It's downtown Kansas City. And back in the day, in the heyday of this area, this was a segregated city. So while a lot of musicians from this area could play there, they couldn't be there. So they'd come over here to do what they needed to do. Now, this church right here is in bad need of restoration. And a guy by the name of V. Weiser owns it. And he wants to turn it into a Gospel Hall of Fame museum. I don't know what the progress is of that. Anyway, we're coming back to where we started, and depending on how well this mirrorless holds up, we'll be able to go on to the next street. But if not, then we'll probably end it there. As this rig is quite heavy, and I'm reaching my goal of getting some exercise. I know it's not much, but I'm getting a little bit of upper body as well as my lower body, so good exercise. Excuse me. I wonder if I can make this green light. Although you got to be careful doing that. And people will turn a corner and nail you. And I know this from personal experience. Anyway, there's a look down the district here. And yes. Here's the sign they put up a couple of years back. Lit up in neon, pretty at night. And as I was going to say, yes, I know. I neglected to mention the Jazz Museum, which is the heart of this district. We walked by it twice. It's in front of that's the staging area for the dance. I probably would have mentioned it if I wasn't so busy looking at the dance stuff. Here's a newer building up here, Parks and Recreation. And I've mentioned before in some of my other things, the story. Before I get into that, the Kleist Center, that's what it's called, I'm reading it. Before I get into that, we're gonna look at the big green head. Now, one of the figures that this area is famous for is Charlie Parker. And here's the bust of Charlie Parker, a memorial. I call it the big green head because it's made of copper. And it says, "Bird lives." Pretty neat. So anyway, back to what I was talking about, this community center here at Kleist Center. What is it? 15 years ago now, Hurricane Katrina did its thing and did a lot of damage to the Gulf Coast. A lot of people had to evacuate. So when they came to Kansas City, they brought a lot of them here, and we were covering that for the news. And this girl, I can't remember, she's probably about 9 years old, been displaced from her home. Family decided they're going to live up here. There's the back of the Jazz Museum and the little pavilion they have for outdoor concerts. Anyway, a 9-year-old girl, she asked if she could borrow my microphone. So I said, okay, sure, no harm. And I'm rolling with my camera, and she starts singing a song I never really heard before. About brought tears to my eyes, and the way she sang, she had a very beautiful voice. It was "God Bless the Broken Road." by Rascal Flatts, and it touched a lot of people. Went back to the station. I edited some national footage on top of her vocal track, you know, showing displaced people, women holding babies and crying, you know, real stuff from the Gulf Coast. And the next day it kind of went viral and blew up and kind of became the voice, the human voice and touch of displaced people, refugees. And it became real to a lot of people. You know, things like that happen not because I'm a great photographer or anything. I'm not. They happen because you just gotta listen. And that day I just happened to be listening, and it was a blessing. And here's Black Archives. And again, you know, look this stuff up. Look up everything on this area. It could use some love, especially in the era of the beer flu. Like all of us could use some love. If you get time, look it up. Do some research. You can find out. But anyway, I think I've lost my camera again. So I'm gonna end this here.